Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baton Rouge SQL Server User Group for January 2021. Our first post-pass meeting, so I'm glad everybody could make it here today. Our speaker for the evening is Diponkar Paul. He has 11 years of experience in the IT industry, specializing in business intelligence. He is the leader of the Toronto, formerly PASS group, and we are very happy to have him. He is located in, he has been working and studied in Canada, Denmark, the UK, and Sweden, and he writes a technical blog and loves to share his learning with the community. The Toronto group's next meeting is February the 18th at 6 p.m. How to build cloud ETL using ADF with Azure Data Lake and Synapse Analytics. So if you're interested, please check that out. It should be very interesting. Tonight, we're talking about SQL versus NoSQL and moving data from MongoDB to Azure using Azure Data Lakes and Azure Data Factory. So that's going to be very, very interesting. And since I don't have a past slide deck to read anymore, I'm out of things to say. Take it away, Diponkar.
Yeah, thank you, Kenny. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of sad that pass is not there, but we're gonna move anywhere, right? People are really interested to learn new stuff, do the networking, so we're gonna really go ahead. Let's find out my slide deck and share my screen. Okay. Okay, hopefully you were able to see my screen.
Looks good.
It's very good. You know, this title is very self-explanatory. As you see, before I start, my camera is just here. So I'm looking at my small computer, but actually presenting the monitor. So sometime you probably will see I'm moving here, there. So just, you know. Okay, before I start, a bit about me. So I've been working as a data engineer, as a data professional, you could say, whatever you say. So BI developer, data warehouse developer, now as a data engineer. And actually, I'm with the community for a long time, even from my childhood. So right now, I'm leading Toronto Data Professional Community, which is, as Kenny just mentioned, I used to lead the Toronto Pass. And I'm father of a 4-year-old boy and husband of beautiful wife. You know, you always mention when you put your wife name, just put that adjective. Never forget that. Beautiful. Now when it's come to really background, I got very diverse background. By looking at me, you can see look like Indian. So actually, I'm originally from Bangladesh. And then I moved to do my higher study in Sweden, then moved to UK, then actually been there in Denmark for a long time, and also I'm Danish citizen since I was there. But I've been actually working with multiple different type of industry, different kind of platform. So that's really enriched my really diverse background, enriched me. I'm really blessed for that. And I write blog. Also, I'm a speaker. Okay, what do you cover today? See, this is very, very easy topic. You're gonna follow is, I'm sure you're gonna follow this very easily. First, we're gonna talk about, we're gonna refresh our memory, bit of traditional SQL. And then we're gonna talk about our NoSQL, which is MongoDB specifically, because you have many other NoSQL database, but I specifically go with MongoDB. Then there'll be demo related to NoSQL. Then we're gonna compare, like, what you learned the traditional SQL and what's NoSQL, what is the differences. And then we're gonna also work with the Azure Data Factory tool, very fancy, new, we like this tool. Whoever work with SSIs, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, what tools we can use in the cloud? Then it's Azure Data Factory. Then I will also have a small demo where you're gonna, whatever we create this database in the MongoDB in this demo part. So the data will be there. So we will get the data and put that to the cloud. Azure Data Lake through this Azure Data Factory. Okay, very interesting, very easy SQL syntax. Everyone is familiar with this. So look at this SQL syntax. Whatever you see is like very simple one, as I said. So I'm selecting ID, product, and price from the product table. Also added a bit of where condition. So this select statement going to give you the product and price information about the category by from the product table. Actually, when it comes to SQL syntax, when you write it, so you can divide this as a two type of syntax, like DDL and DML. When it's come to you're gonna create the table, then you call it a DDL. And when it's come to your other operation, when you're gonna do that, join, insert, whatever you do, then it's come to DML. So that's kind of different, major different two types of SQL syntax you can think of. Well, when it's come to general SQL, like not NoSQL, SQL, then you have to have well-defined schema. Well, what does it mean by that? Well-defined schema is, you have to have a table, and then you have all the attributes you list, like in the table column name, that you have to say, okay, this is my integer column. Okay, name is a varchar, and if it is, say, for example, the cost, if you'd like to say money, whatever. So you also have to say, okay, what is the length of that column? So you have to mention if it is a null or not null. That's the reason you say it's a well-defined schema. You have to have that when it's come to the SQL. Also, the next one is the relationship or normal addition, whatever it's at. So relationship is also mandatory when you're gonna build any kind of business application. You must have to have the relationship. We can look at this example, say customer. Here, you can have the customer name, you can have email address or address, phone number. You can have not many columns in this customer table. And also, for example, think about the product table. You can have, you list all the product inside your product table. So you can have a customer table, you can have a product table, but still it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really provide you any business value until you say, okay, this customer bought this product, right? Then it makes sense, complete sense. Okay, so it means you need to make the bridge between these two, right? So look at here. If I say the Martin, and if you go to this table, see, okay, customer ID 2, sorry, not Martin here. So customer ID 2 is Anderson. So you know, when you come here to the bridge table, now you know this is Anderson. And what actually he buy is product ID 2. So you can go to here to CD bag. It means when you're gonna join this three table, then that makes sense or make a complete kind of sense that, okay, Anderson buy CD bike with $1,000. That's complete. So you have to have normalization or relationship. For example, if you know about the normalization, you have first, second, and third normalization. And generally, when it's come to SQL database application development, or you have application development behind the scene, you have the database when you do build it, you have to maintain that relationship as well as the normalization. Now, third part is your relationship. So when it's come to the relationship, there are main three types of relationships. So one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. As an example, here I see any school, think about you will have one-to-one head teacher, right? And so this like one-to-one. So one school can have one-to-one head teacher, can have many teacher, but one head teacher. So that is like one-to-one relationship. Now come to one-to-many, the similar one, school can have many teacher, right? That's like one-to-many. Now it's come to many-to-many. What is that? Means your school will have like student as well as, all the lesson, physics, chemistry, math, whatever. So it means how the many-to-many relation work in the example. So one student can take physics, chemistry, math, think about this same physics, chemistry, math can be taken by many students, not only one, right? So this is like what type of relationship we have in SQL. Okay, so we just covered a bit about SQL. We warm up. We probably already know about those, just to refresh our mind. Now when you come to the NoSQL, I mean, I remember like when I get to know, okay, what is NoSQL is? I mean, is it NoSQL? Actually, it's not NoSQL. It's not one SQL. You can do more things in this type of database. So when it's come to the NoSQL database, I just put some of the vendor who provide that NoSQL database. For example, MongoDB, Azure Cosmos DB, and Amazon Document DB, and Oracle have it, and Google also have those. So NoSQL is really getting popularity. I mean, it's not now. I would say it's from 2015. This is, for example, the MongoDB. When it's come to MongoDB, it is, I think it came to Gartner Magic Quadrant in 2015. And then, it's gain more popularities. And also right now, it's not only when you do any kind of application development, you use it, rather in the big data platform. MongoDB is also using, like a lot of companies are using MongoDB. So it's really getting used popular. Okay, if you're from SQL background, like you have database, you have table, then table has all the records. But here it's a bit different when it's come to the NoSQL. Then database is database, that doesn't change. But when it's come to table, that's called collection. And in the collection, especially for the MongoDB, whatever reside in that collection means table, that's called document. So say, for example, the customer or product table, whatever you have, but all this column like name and, age or whatever, all this, columns, that's we call as documents. That's a bit different here. Is how we call them. And schema, we just talk about in SQL, you have to have well-defined schema. But here, you don't need to have that well-defined schema. Means, if you look at this data, so we get an ID, we get a name, we get an age, and maybe more column. The second record, if you look at it, ID, name, and age, those column. No, don't think about this is a null or there doesn't have any value. That's not right. Even this column doesn't exist here. Similarly, this one here, the name column doesn't exist. It only has the age and other column not there. So this record maybe doesn't make any sense. Only age 36, but think about this is a bad record, right? So when it's come to NoSQL, as you clearly see, this is actually, you don't have to have this well-defined schema. You don't say the data type, you don't say the column name. So this all can come like this. There is no defined schema. And second thing is your, the relationship, because we just talk about how important for SQL database having relationship, talk to each other. Look at this example. On the left, I put as how the SQL, if we're going to do the similar things in the relation, no SQL relationship, we could have put like this, right? So we put as a user name, Tom Hanks, age 20, my favorite actor. No, he's not 20 for sure, you know that. So, user, and think about the profession as well, right? So that's like earlier I have shown in the other like relationship database. So you have user, you have the profession, then you have the relationship table to translate that. Okay, this user Tom Hanks, actually, so if I go here, user profession, so user ID 1, profession ID 1 means he's the developer, right? So Tom Hanks is the developer, and Tom Hanks, the same user ID, profession is the data engineer. Think about it, you have to have, or you need to maintain those if you think about the SQL. But now look at this part on the right side. This is that simple. you don't have to have actually 3 tables to have that relationship. This is something called embedded. So see, this the first part is ID, name, and age, and then email address. But the profession part, to maintain, like to really get the same result from SQL, whereas you have to have this 3 table, you can have embedded only one attributes, and then you put those value in embedded developer data engineer actor. So see, you can easily actually avoid those relationship here by embedding that extra attributes, whatever you need. Okay, so we see, how this is a bit different between SQL and NoSQL in terms of the very basic differences, schema and the relationship, and it has embedded one, other one you have to have the relationship in SQL. I have put it here because I'm going to share, you can, if you'd like to look at the more into MongoDB and the tools I'm going to use. So that's the reason I put all this link here. I'm moving towards to demo, and then in that case I'm going to use this. Either you can use the Robot 3T or MongoDB if you're going to work with MongoDB. So this is just for the information purposes. And later on, if you'd like to look into some kind of resources, this is a good resource to start with if someone would like to start. And when it comes to MongoDB, you can have very flexibility to use any kind of language. If you come from C# background, you can just start working on a MongoDB. You don't have to be SQL developer working. If it's not required that you only have to have SQL expertise. Rather, any expertise from these languages, you can actually work with MongoDB. Okay, demo. We're gonna jump to demo now. Let's share. I have to switch my screen. Let me find out. Should have share whole screen, but screen 2. Yeah, I'm good. I think I'm sharing now full screen. So in the next demo, I don't have to think about switching. Okay. So first of all, I would like to start from blank. So, okay, how we can open it? So as I say, this is MongoDB, sorry, Robot 3T. So as long as you use this, you can, you just look at there, you can, it's like SQL database. So similarly, I'm connected with my local host. That's how I'm connected. And what I'm gonna do is I can open shell, gonna make some query first. I would like to create a database. I don't know why my mouse is giving me a bit of hiccup. Okay. Okay, see, in generally, when you come to the SQL database, you have to create a SQL database by saying, okay, create database, then you put it. But here, interesting things is you can actually, something's really wrong here. Okay, so for example, as long as you see this use, I put as use, and then I create the table name, it's gonna actually create a database. As soon as it doesn't find it, it's just gonna create that. I'm sorry, something is wrong because it's really slow. When let me connect, I'm closing it. I'm connecting it. It's very slow when I'm just clicking mouse. It's really not listening. this time it should. Yeah, actually, this is faster now. I'm deleting, that's not deleting. This. This is really, I don't know, this is.
Looks to me like you lost your front slash.
No, that part I know, this is like, you know, there is an error, but the point is, you know, when I'm moving the mouse, it's just not moving. That's like becoming very slow. Okay, now we're good. Refresh. See, now we have created our database. Wow, this is, I'm clicking here, but it's not, it's like sometime, you know, when you get this kind of mouse issue, that's look like. Okay, now I see. Okay, so this is the database, whatever created, and under the database, you see the collection. I have to hit like 2-3 times to open that. This must be right. So, okay. Okay, see, this is a product, and if I can click the documents, then you can see ID, name, and prices, because that's the one I just created as a table. Now I'm gonna create some other table, you know, the one we talk about. In the PPT. Oh, this is, I simply don't know why this mouse is even not moving. Okay, Kenny, let me share my PPT only. I don't know if it's something with the sharing. This is here. It's kind of hanging. Okay, now. So when I'm clicking it, it's just not moving. This is so weird. This is my SQL syntax, like NoSQL syntax to put in and create these tables. And this is, the mouse is not moving even. Right. Cursor is not moving. This is Thomas one. Okay. This is there, that copy. Wow.
Well, you're trying to work through that, and I don't want to distract you too much, but did I understand correctly that it will create the collection or the database for you just from using the use statement?
Yeah, exactly. As soon as, you know, create the use statement, then it's going to create the database. That's correct.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you don't have to go and create, write the create statement.
It's very cool. It's also kind of terrifying because I type all sorts of weird things.
True. That's for sure. Okay, now I think I'll able to at least create one more table. Even I was actually presenting same things like last week. This is why this is happening. It's just freezing everything. Refresh. Maybe what I can do is, can I try to switch my monitor to my other screen? Does that help somewhere? Okay, it looks like this one is much better. It is moving at least, things are moving.
Yeah, that looks good.
This side, maybe put it here. This is terrifying. Okay, even as this issue is say it's not selecting. I'm selecting and it's okay. You see, okay. Let me share with the code. I think I'm not able to show you the table. You know, there is other part of the demo, but since good part is it's already there is one product have been created, and see what I'm planning to do is, and also I go through the syntax. So the first part of it is, look at here. So you can just insert by putting this, you know, user and then insert one. So what you're going to do is insert this name, age, and email address. And then you can also go and find out that, okay, whatever you just created it. And also, what do we talk about this, you know, embedded? For example, this one. So see, in the profession, it's the same table as a user. So you got a ID, name is, and then the profession come, you can embed that like this. So as soon as you put like this, developer, data engineer, actor under the profession, your table gonna look like, okay, this is one user, and then all the profession kind of embedded. You're gonna see that. So it should be really nice if I'm able to show you. I don't know, for some reason it's kind of hanging. The next one you see here, this one is more about embed, and inside that, say, we saw this one, the first part is the profession, and look at the car. The first part of it is you have make and the year, right? So you have, like, you can say when it has been built, what is the brand of that car, and see this part. And inside the car, you have this more, it's kind of embedded inside the one. It's like lookup under the lookup, you know, it's the more lookup kind of nested one. So that you can also do in your MongoDB database, in NoSQL database. Even as I said, if you remember, some cases you may not have a column. So this one, if you look at this car, you gotta make, year, and the color. But the next one, when there is a value, there is attribute, see, the color is not there, and no problem at all. So this is kind of, you even doesn't have, or you don't have that color column. Still, you can create it, you can make a query out of it, and that's how it is in NoSQL. I'm gonna give you another shot, one more shot. Let's see if I can select it. Trying it. Mouse, even the keyboard. Okay. It. Okay. I don't know how much it came through. This look like it. Yeah, it is now showing. Okay, this is not that one. This is the one user side. Yeah, okay. Now we're able to see. This is, yeah, some of the days are bad. You know, when I'm clicking here, it should just show all the records here, even here. And I'm clicking, it's nothing. Oh, okay, it's coming there. It's coming there. Okay. See, the one I was talking about. So this is like your object. You got an ID, name, and age, and email address. And now see, inside the same user table, like the collection, you have the nested one, right? So your profession is there, and even under that, like you got like all the information in the profession in the same table. And similarly, I also got one more object embedded there, whereas the car, and see the car, I'm clicking it, copy to open. See, you gotta make here on the color. Whenever I go here, it should show. Okay, next one should see. It's gonna make an year. It doesn't have the color, but it's able to see show you, or it's able to create you the table or whatever. There are more syntax I would like to show how to update all sort of things. It seems like it's really hard. It's not gonna work for today. It's just a bad day. Let me share my PPT.
So just going back to what you were just showing, that I noticed when you were viewing the data, you have ID that you inserted with your insert, but then there's also that underscore ID. Is that just because you have repeating IDs, or is that always there to sort of uniquify?
Yeah, very good question, Kenny. So that's the one, ID. This is automatically by default is created. So for example, if I don't have ID, then this will be my ID. But think about, okay, I need ID, right? In that case, if I say the ID column as like underscore ID, then that is my ID, how I would like to define it. But if I don't define it like that underscore ID, then it's gonna create itself as a unique column. Yeah. Now my presentation went to the other monitor. Let me. I was going to the other monitor, display settings. I should be able to change that to. Yep. Oh. Okay. So let's see. Okay, we had a demo. Now what you can see is whatever we saw in the SQL and whatever we see in the NoSQL, what's the differences? So SQL doesn't, you need to have the well-defined schema, and NoSQL, it's not, it's not like you have to have a schema. It can be schema-less, something called, it's better to say schema agnostic. The reason for it saying schema agnostic is, okay, it works without a schema, but really when it's come to real-time designing a big kind of a solution, think about if you know, okay, there is a relationship, you better build it. I think that's good. There is you can build without a schema, but if you're able to build the schema, then better build it. And same way like the other one we look at is the relationship. So SQL you have to maintain the relationship, but this doesn't have to have the relationship, as I said. But again, though you can design relationship if you want, and also data distributed in multiple table to make, just fit into the normalization things in SQL. But here, as you saw, you can actually embed that into one table. Okay, we talk about the NoSQL. We had really struggling with the tool. Hope this will not happen for Azure. It's in cloud. Now this part is, say the table we created, would like to move that to Azure Data Lake services. And to move that, what we need to have is, we need to have Azure Data Factory, and we also need to have Azure Data Lake services. So that's the things we're going to talk about. Okay, a bit about what is Azure Data Lake. Well, Azure Data Lake is a PaaS service from Microsoft, big data solution. And the very important part, or very interesting part is Azure AD integrated. So it's easy. when you have Azure Data, Active Directory, then it can be integrated to the Azure Data Lake. Also, it's a HDFS compliant, so it's a big data platform, part of the big data platform. And a bit about Azure Data Factory. If you come from Microsoft SSIS, if you have used it, for example, ETL tool or any other tool you used. So it's a very similar type of tool, Azure Data Factory. It's in the cloud, it's a code free. It can also do a lot, many more things. Okay, before we jump into our demo, we have to have something as a prerequisite, because if you'd like to try it, okay, you have NoSQL database and you would like to move that data to your cloud solution or cloud service like Azure Cloud. In that case, if it is Azure, you have to have Azure account, right? And then, of course, Azure Data Factory resource need to be created, and the link services, also the integration runtime. I actually prefer to draw something. Get my page. I need to bit of see, this is something with my computer or something with connection today. I don't know. This is super. When I'm moving the cursor, just slowing. It's very slow. Okay. See, think about this is our. So MongoDB. Wow. Look like it's gonna give me a hard time when I'm writing. It's just so super slow. Okay, think about, okay, you have MongoDB and you would like to move this to your Azure Data Lake. So this is ADLS. So what you're using here is ADF. It's coming, but it's super duper slow. I think you probably see a bit later when I'm writing after. So there is a kind of delay. So in this process, the reason what I would like to draw it, you need more stuff, as I said, because if you're new to this, Azure Data Factory and all this term, for example, the link services, integration runtime, if we don't talk about, then it will be a bit confusing about all the new terms. So, for example, what you need to have is here, integration runtime. Oh my goodness. And in Azure, there is two type of integration runtime. One is self-hosted integration runtime, and other one is an Azure integration runtime. Well, there is one more, I think it's for SSIS. If you'd like to move your SSIS package to Azure Data Factory, that helped there. Okay, you're not able to see them clearly. So this is like self-hosted integration runtime, which is required. Think about it, your database in your on-prem, right? The MongoDB database I created, it is in my PC, right? So it could be anywhere, not in the cloud. So it could be on-prem on other server that need to communicate to your Azure cloud services. In that case, this self-hosted integration runtime is SIR need to be there, which actually will communicate with the cloud. And top of that is your first item, what you have to have, which is integration, self-hosted integration runtime, since on-prem. Then what you need to have is link services, LS. Link services is nothing but your connection string. Think about when you're working with any ETL, whatever, you have to have a you have to create the connection string first, right, with the database. So that is your link service. And then think about in ETL, okay, you have the database. It's not like you're gonna move the whole database to the cloud, right? So you say, okay, I would like to take this table or, only select a statement with this column and joining whatever, maybe you have query. So it means that the next part is creating the data set. So then it's the data set. And whatever actually I created this link services data set, I put it here. Actually, it should be here. This is in the cloud. This is you do in the Azure. So you have the link service and data set, and then self-hosted integration runtime to connect with your MongoDB database. And very similarly, you also have to have the similar one like Azure integration runtime. I'm not writing it. You say this is super slow, and it's whether I'll show you more details into the portal when I log in there. So I will stay a bit more time there to explain to you. This is I don't know why it's super slow. So here it will be more like one more integration runtime to communicate with the ADLS, because this is your data lake. And then you'll have the other link service to communicate with the lake services as well as the data set. Those three things you need to know, or you need to have. Let's see. Hope this will not make any trouble. So I get a portal. That's how we go and get into the portal. And then, as I said, the resource group Data Factory is created. This is my, when you just open the Azure Data Factory, it will look like that. Then you click Author and Monitor. Then it will get you to the real, where you're going to develop it. Say you have different tabs, but you have to come with the author tab. Then I already created the pipeline. See, pipeline MongoDB. Okay, let's explain a bit more. As I said, so what we are doing is this copy activities. What it's going to do is it will connect to MongoDB on-prem and copy that one table I mentioned here, and then move it to the Azure Cloud Data Lake. So the first step, what you need to do is this. How I get this copy data is you write it here, copy. And you see there is a copy data. You drag and drop, you put it there. The next steps, what you have to do is go there. You have to select your source, right? Because that's how we're getting the source. See, I have already created this MongoDB data set. If you remember, I was talking about the data set. That is the data set. And the data set can be only created on top of the link services. See, that is the link services that has been created. And then the link service is actually sitting on top of this integration runtime. If you see here, I cannot change it. That has been created, this integration runtime, self-hosted integration runtime. So that is how, if you'd like to, make the connection and get or reach to your on-prem server, wherever which is not in Azure, that's how you have to connect it. And also, let me show you, since I'm here, just to show you. So how even you create the data set. So you have so many components here, but our focus is to connect with the MongoDB. So you have to look for the MongoDB. See, there is a MongoDB. As soon as you click it, then it's got a source data set. See, and then you have to show what is my link services. See, I have this link services, so I have chosen this one. Say, for example, I don't have it. I would like to create one. Then what you have to do is you have to go and create one. And then you have to say whatever MongoDB. And then you have to see, if you remember, I was talking about this integration runtime. See, there are two different here. One is auto-resolve integration runtime, which reside in Azure. But other one is a self-hosted integration runtime, which actually communicate with your local server. And to even connect with that, what you have to have is you have to have the self-integration runtime running. And say this one. integration runtime configuration manager. This is running in my PC. If it is not running, I cannot anyway cannot connect to the cloud. And then you have to say your connection string, right? So connection string, where you're getting it from your MongoDB, right? So you get a kind of, I don't want to click it. You know how we're going to get the database name. That's so this is super slow. If you click it, maybe it hangs. So I don't want to do that. So you're going to put the connection state, then you can put the database name. It's like simple how we do for other ATL cases. Then you actually created the link services. I'll just discard changes. I don't want to create it because I already have created it. Then, whatever you created, you choose that link services. First you created the integration runtime, then the link services. That's how we do it. Also cancel that one. And I also delete that one because you saw how it has been done. So this is the one, your source. So this is your data set. And data set, as I say, data set is connected to the link service. Links relied on your integration runtime. Very good. Now we connect to the source. Even the very interesting is you can preview the data. As long as I hit that, I should be able to see even whatever we have our on-premise database. See, city by price. This is the product item I created at the very beginning. It's not the one user. So say for example, this is the one here, the product, this one. See, this is super slow. So this one is connected there. So those data is showing here. And then the sync, very similar way, means you have a data set which should be connected to other link service, which will talk to your data lake, data storage or lake, whatever you call them. So this is your link service, and then this if you connect it or edit it, you see this link service is also depend on this integration runtime. This is not self-hosted. You see, it's Azure auto-resolve integration runtime. Then you're gonna give your URL for where your storage is located and account key, and then you're good to go. Now what you're gonna do is, okay, before I run, I'd like to go and show you what is our data lake as a storage. So see, this is my storage. In the storage, we get a container. And in the container, I got a blob storage, and there's one file I think I created yesterday. So what you expect is as soon as I run it, and it should actually load that file into here. Sorry, here, right? There's to publish if something has been changed anywhere. As soon as you have changes something, I really don't know what has been changes. Just maybe something just moving around. So, well, this is publishing because in ADF you can also have source control like GitHub, whatever. In that case, you don't have to publish it. But this one is for the training purposes. I don't have the GitHub setup here. So let's run it. Click debug, and it should run it quickly, very quickly. You should be able to say in progress. Oh, okay. It's already, you see, it's already success. But it does, yeah, it's done here. So our expectation is if we're gonna go here and refresh it, we should see there's a file just created just now here. Now how we're gonna look at that data. You go there and edit it. See, that's the same, like name, city by, the price, and ID. So that's our demo is ended here. Now let me go to the slide. Oh yeah, very important things here. Be cautious is think about this demo as, considering that you have the MongoDB and you'd like to move the data. So it's for migration purpose. You'd like to move the data to your Azure cloud. It means your MongoDB version is a bit older. And that's the way how it is that the MongoDB, you see this connector in Azure Data Factory that is supported only for version 3.4. In the MongoDB, I think MongoDB is already in version 4.1 or 2, something like that, 2, I believe. So it means you need to remember this is the purpose when you look at you have the old legacy MongoDB you have we did for a long time. Now we'd like to move it to the cloud. That's the time you use this connector and move all those data to the cloud. Yes, I think I'm done here. If you have any question, you can just throw your question in discussion. Yeah, I think I missed something. When I was doing the demo, one thing I missed there is people always think, okay, when actually I go for SQL versus NoSQL. I think this could be a question, but in generally, I saw when I was working or involved in a project. See, when actually that, okay, my database, my requirement come in, and I know in beforehand, okay, this is my table, this is my schema, and I know it is all defined. In that case, you better go with SQL. But whenever there is a scenario come, you don't know it, you really don't know what will be a table structure, how it look like, or how your column data type will be integer or vec or whatever. You don't know it. In that case, you should actually go with NoSQL database. So, yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question. This isn't really related to moving things, but what about do you have any advice for sort of a hybrid approach where maybe I have a little bit of structured data and some unstructured data? Basically, is there a clean way to get SQL and maybe Mongo or another big data type thing to work together cleanly?
In that case, Azure already have the Cosmos DB, who is underneath actually, MongoDB, other things is running. So if you are in Azure, you can go with the Cosmos DB. And in that case, you can have your non-relationship database. You build their design solution, and also there is if you would like to go with the MongoDB, they also have MongoDB cloud solution. If you're going to start fresh, you can choose one of them in that way. Yeah. And of course, when it's come to think about, you cannot have one database fit into both like SQL, NoSQL. So if you think about okay, I have very huge enterprise application you're going to develop, then probably some part of it means some kind of feature or any kind it's a module, not the feature, rather module underneath. You can actually use the SQL database. Other cases, if that module actually require your NoSQL kind of requirement, then you can running that. You can have the NoSQL database running underneath that. Yeah.
Can you? I know demoing from that application was a little troublesome, but can you maybe show how you query the data once it's in the data lake?
Oh, yeah, sure. In generally, okay. Storage, I hope I have that tool. Okay, yeah. So in general, use Azure Storage Explorer to, okay, this is open another window. Oh, slow. Okay, I think I have to connect with the VPN to connect with that tool. This is because this is some tool connected to my office, but let's show it from here. So what you do is generally you come to your data lake storage. So what you have to have is your storage account created first. So this is the account what has been created for me. So then you're gonna go to the container, and you also have the storage explorer. So yeah, Open Explorer. Oh, okay, sorry, this one will not work for me. So that's the best to do from there. But when it's more like it's exploring, I would say, rather than coding it. Or so the best tool to have it here, Azure Storage Explorer, like this, this one. But right now I cannot connect it because I need to connect to it VPN. Even I think I'm not able to share it because some of this is from my office because I don't have the subscription from Azure. So what you do is like you generally go there. Also, whenever you have this Azure Storage Explorer, you can explore it. But I'm not sure, if you're asking like how can I query it in Data Lake, I generally don't do or use that way. Rather, going to using this Storage Explorer and finding out the file, how can look at the file and sort of things. Mostly, when it's gonna show or view it, it's generally come here. Like, for example, here you connect with it, then you're gonna view it, preview the data from here. That generally look at. Even, for example, when I'm debugging it, you can, for example, you can always put the debug mode. For example, this one is the general copy, but still there is more complex stuff you can do in your Azure Data Factory. For example, data flow. When it's come to the data flow, yeah, you need to build one. Let's build one. So data flow is more about, you have so many steps inside. If you remember in ETL, SSI, ETL, so what are you going to do? You have to message the data, transforming the data. So when it's come to transforming, because the example I have shown is just a copy, but think about the transformation one, then you have to actually use the data flow. And then you have to find out, okay, this is my source. Okay, say for example, I choose one of them. And then, you have all other things. So, okay, what are you going to do? You would like to do join, you would like to conditional speed, whatever. Also, for example, if you come from the SSI's background, the derived column, right? So you're going to add the derived column. You can do all the expression as you used to do in your ETL tool with the SSIs, for example. You can do everything. And then at the end, you can say, okay, I'm done. Now we're going to sync. Sync is nothing but your target. And then you have to say, what are you going to sync it? So that way you can, that is come like data flow come into the picture there, where it would really like to do a lot of stuff with data messaging, transforming, and so many things you can do. And best part of it, data flow in the Azure Data, because the data flow is very new. I think it's 1 year now in Azure Data Factory. And the very good part of it is whenever you are working on it, actually you can do the data preview and you can see the data. Even, for example, you did some of the stuff and you'd like to preview here, you exactly can see it because, and to see that, you need to open this data flow debug mode. And as long as you click it, what it does is, see, it's run the Spark cluster behind this, and then it's gonna be active for 1 hour, 2 hours to save your money. Because as long as you click one, okay, it cluster gonna run and it costs some money. And that after that, when the cluster is ready, you only can see the preview mode. Means, for example, you just did some kind of transformation here. So, for example, okay, case when statement, if if it is bigger than this, and then put that value, and after you just put that syntax, you immediately can see that, which is not possible even in SSIs. You could do it, then debug it, run it, then you can see it. But here, immediately when you're doing the development, you can see it. So this is really beautiful, but some of the things, the data flow debug, it takes time to, because it's underneath the Spark cluster is running. So that's part of more I was talking. I know you asked something about Azure Data Explorer, how do you do that startup, because I don't have really facility to dig into there. Rather, you can do so many things with Azure Data Factory. This could be in a different topics, how we work with the ETL as the Azure Data Factory using data flow, and that could be completely a separate topic itself.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I don't have any more questions in the chat right now. I'll give them a few more minutes to see if anybody gonna type some more in. But this was very, very interesting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the first time it happened today. This hiccup.
That's okay. These things happen. I do want to ask, can you provide us with, or you can email it to me and I can post it out, or if you have a blog post about this presentation with the demo code and the links to install all the apps that you were talking about, that would be really handy.
Sure, I can do it.
That would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, I'm not seeing any more questions, so I guess we'll go ahead and call it. Thank you again, Diponkar, and thanks to Brian for serving as TD tonight. I literally couldn't do this without you, buddy.
Nice. I'm glad.
All right.
I'm glad to
thanks
be here.
everybody for coming, and we'll be back next month. I've got a lead on a speaker for February, so as soon as I get that locked down, we'll send out the notes. And don't forget about the Toronto user group meeting, which I have lost the date for because I changed Windows.
No, I can tell.
What was the date on that again? Yeah, let everybody know about your next meeting.
Yeah, it's 18th of February on Thursday at 6 p.m. Mark Cromer going to speak there. If you're working in Azure Data Factory, data flows, and even the Azure Synapse Analytics, which is recently released. So it'll be fantastic opportunity if you're going to come. You'll have opportunity to ask him because he actually working in that same team. So I would say please come and join. And thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Brian, for the opportunity you have given.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. So, all right. Well, I guess no more questions. We'll go ahead and shut it down. Just for everyone out there, remember to like, subscribe. We'll actually post the on-demand video at some point tomorrow. So, if you have friends out there, please share. Please share our channel, share the video, share the knowledge that we have. We'll do it again next month. All right. See y'all later.
Yeah, thank you.